Alrighty, so to start with, I'll segment the video a little bit, and that'll make it easier on me and my recording as well. But anyway, so first we're going to cover some neutral tools, and then we're going to go to defense. I don't have that much on that because I didn't have that much information about defensive habits. And then we're going to go to offense. So, first thing to know on neutral, first point in neutral. Standing heavy kick is your friend. Okay, the thing is, you're not just trying to land hits, you're trying to manage drive gauge. That's like your big thing in neutral. You don't have a fireball that you can use to slow down the match and waste a bunch of time. You have movement with fast walk speed that you can do to not have to block things and thus regenerate your drive gauge, and you have stuff like standing heavy kick. Look how much, if we both start at down 2 bars, look how much drive gauge. If I just land like 3 random like stand heavy kicks on block, I'm back to full and he's down 1.5. So I generate 2, he's down 1.5. A net drive gauge gain of like 3.5 bars or more just from getting like 3 random stand heavy kicks on block. That is an enormous value. Okay, so stand heavy kick is outrageous. Its speed with its snappy range, it hits pretty high into the air, so it catches jump startups. It's only -3, etc. So what you want to do with stand heavy kick is, in terms of on block, is combine it with the snappy movement. You can do stand heavy kick, and if you're outspaced like this, you can walk backwards, you can backdash, you can repeatedly abuse this. Because it moves her forwards, you can use this to stab in and then move back, and you don't lose that much space by doing stand heavy kick backdash. And then you also have other things like this. So let's go to like JP, for example. Alright, lots of characters will respond to your... So go into here, go to reversal settings, go to block reversal, put 1 on crouching medium kick, 1 on do nothing, and then do stand heavy kick, and then he's going to try to tag you low for walking backwards, right? And that'll happen randomly if you hit it on, if you activate both crouching medium kick and do nothing. And that'll hit you if you walk backwards, right? And if you're too close, this crouching medium kick hits quite far, so it'll hit you if you backdash as well. So a lot of characters will throw in 9 frame or 10 frame or 11 frame options at this range. So at this space, this is what you want to practice. Standing heavy kick, then stand light kick buffered into spiral arrow. So you do a quick light kick, then do the input for spiral arrow so that it doesn't come out if he does nothing. And if he does a 9 frame move like that, you automatically beat it. You also want to do the same thing with 8-frame moves. That being said, with 8-framers, most commonly the most threatening option that you'll have to contend with is going to be 8-frame crouching medium kicks. So once again, put 1 thing on crouching medium kick and 8-framer like Cammy's, and 1 on do nothing. And then you're going to do the same thing, except you're going to buffer crouch light punch. So, practice those interactions and feel free to abuse standing heavy kick like this with backwards movement, with these buffer techniques, and then this will allow you a very convenient way to steal the opponent's drive gauge, harass the opponent with a button, regenerate your own drive gauge every single time this button makes contact, on hit or on block. It builds an enormous amount of drive gauge for you on block, more than most buttons. Builds you like half a bar, it's ridiculous. And yes, this will be a very powerful tool for managing space, managing harassment, managing resources, and controlling the opponent, which will unlock opportunities to get in. The next point is related, but it's slightly different. So, forward heavy kick will pull your hurt box back much faster than backdashing will, or backwards walking will. So it is excellent for this scenario. It will beat any button that they do, any 7-framers, 8-framers, 9-framers, whatever. 10-framers, anything in that range. Any button that they press, it will just win against outright. The risk of forward heavy kick that you have to understand is that forward heavy kick is -12 on block. That being said, it is special cancelable, so you can do it, say, into spin knuckle. Now, if you count the frames, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, that would mean it's only has a 9-frame gap rather than a 12-frame gap. So if the opponent does a 10-framer to punish you, the spin knuckle would hit them. It would counter-hit them. You also have the ability to go into hooligan. So if the opponent were to try to punish you with crouching medium kick, you can go over it. So this is punishable, very punishable at -12, but it is a very awkward move where you have a variety of things you can cancel into that make it much more difficult to actually punish consistently. So feel free to do this. That being said, any scenario where it is blocked, you will have to sort of think on your feet and do weird random stuff. If you don't want to do something like that, do this over and over. Actually, just put them on, you can put them on random block like this. No, it's better to do it in this scenario. So block all, crouching medium kick, and do nothing, and then do standing heavy kick, that, and then if you see that they just blocked, drive rush into stand jab to keep it safe. And if it hits, cancel into an attack. Now, once you have conditioned them to not challenge this move consistently, then you can start changing up what you cancel it into. You can not cancel it at all. You can go into light spin knuckle. You can go into DI. You can go into heavy or medium or light, whatever, hooligan. And you will be able to, and so this is a weird, awkward tool, as you can probably tell, but it's a very powerful tool if it's leveraged properly. So it can be, when you do it on block into stuff that's not guaranteed, it can be a little gambly, but it's a very convenient way to get in. Like, anytime you have full drive gauge, you can just do standing heavy kick, and then either do forward heavy kick, or crouching medium kick, and force your way in. And that will broadly beat most things that the opponent is liable to do. Right, next. I have 2 points that are based on my observation of your play. When I was playing against you, I was trying to get you to do a lot of this into drive rush on block, but you play very reactively. And, you were frequently not canceling it on block, but then you were very, with a high degree of frequency, you could tell that I was walking backwards, or you sensed the neutral, and you got a lot of them on hit, which tells me that you are playing very reactively, and that you have the capacity to react dynamically to, you know, hit confirm, strike throw situations, which is very good. So when you're playing reactively, consider this. One, the damage difference between crouching medium kick and crouching medium punch, which broadly serves similar functions. Crouching medium kick is a low and it hits further, but it's 8 frames. Crouching medium punch, very good 7-framer. They both have kind of bad hurt boxes on startup. Crouching medium punches is worse on startup, so it's a good reactive tool, but it's not always the best proactive tool. And, but anyways, the important point is that the damage difference that you're looking at is if you do this into your basic combo like that, that is 2,045 damage, where if you do crouching medium punch, 2,485 damage, over almost like a 450 damage increase, which is a very significant damage increase. There is a massive difference in damage output between getting crouching medium punch into whatever you do, especially drive rush cancels, or crouching medium kick. So consider that when you are playing reactively and you have the capacity to confirm these on hit or tell when you're going to get them on hit, crouching medium punch will net you significantly more damage every single time. Other than that, they're functionally the same. They both provide the exact same cancel window, corner carry, etc. Next thing about playing reactively, play with stand jab neutral. Stand jab is a very powerful 4-frame action from Cammy, and if you can play reactively and you can tell when you're going to be in range, and especially when the opponent you're going to get a counter hit, anytime that you're moving around or stuff, stand jab neutral, get counter hit, put counter hit on random, whatever, put block on random. And then practice doing that. Do crouching medium punch if you see the hit, and then confirm into the combo if it's a counter hit. It's not completely vitally important that you only do stand jab if it's blocked, but the better that you can do this reactively, the whole sequence reactively, where you only continue from the stand jab on counter hit, or at least on hit, will make you significantly more powerful. So practice that a lot. Like, practice this a lot and then hone your reactivity. Another thing that you can do while walking and doing this is sometimes when you play stand jab neutral, your main tools that you're going to be using are your stand jab, your stand medium punch, which on counter hit, very easy to confirm on punish counter or regular counter hit. And then you're going to be doing, obviously, crouching medium kick to catch the opponent low. And you're going to be using, crouching medium punch for reacting to, like, whiffs and things and playing reactively. Alright, next I'm going to explain my own made-up mental stack, which is a common term, and then my own made-up term, which is flashbangs. Okay, so mental stack, as I'm sure you've probably heard and you're probably aware, but let me just explain anyways, is your overall mental accumulation of things that you're expecting, anticipating, prepared for, looking for, whatever, things that you can, and then each thing that you're ready for can be by varying degrees. It's your sort of axis of focus. There can be 1 or 2 things you're very focused on, 2 things you're semi-focused on, and then a couple things that you're like foregoing entirely and not prepared for at all if they were to happen, where you would just be a deer in the headlights if they happened. And then the more powerful you can become with your mental stack, you can focus on individual things better. There's different ways to improve your mental stack. You can improve it, like, you can focus on one thing really, really well, or you can improve your overall zenith of focus, so you can be able to broadly focus on more things at the same time and, like, decently focus on multiple things and be prepared for them. And then there's ways that you can train yourself to things that you're not prepared for and you're not ready for. You can still train yourself to, like, kick yourself into a different mode. You know, you can train yourself if you have the wrong mental stack right now for what the opponent's doing. You can practice switching up your mental stack on the fly. There's various skills related to mental stack that are kind of abstract and psychological and hard to explain. But in terms of how you can leverage this to your advantage, the most important thing is that you have to understand every single thing that you do that requires a different action from the opponent is another way in which you can apply mental stack damage. So, in a basic sense, like, just take these basic actions. Okay, Cammy at this range can do walk up, crouch, medium kick, drive rush. Or dash, crouch, medium kick, drive rush. She can do jump. She can do drive rush. Drive rush, stand heavy punch. Drive rush, whatever. She can do dive kick. She can do heavy spin knuckle. Each of these things requires a different reaction, okay? For them to stop your footsies and what you're going to be doing most of the time, they have to be playing the footsies game and focused on that. To stop your jumps, they have to be looking for anti-airs, which is harder against Cammy because of the existence of dive kick. To stop your dive kicks, they have to be very focused on your jump game. To stop heavy spin knuckle, they have to be looking for that. And to stop drive rush, they have to be looking for that. So the main things so anyways, that's like the broad application of the mental stack. But there's another thing that is relevant to mental stack, and that is what I call flashbangs. Flashbangs, and you can see this very clearly when you see like high-level Cammy players. For example, if you play NuckleDo does not play Cammy is not his main character, but he switches to Cammy. It's very clear that he does not thoroughly practice Cammy. He switches to Cammy, and Cammy is just a stand-in for NuckleDo to broadly play very fast and very aggressive. And it's not that he has like this great specific understanding of Cammy as a character. It's just that Cammy is fast enough and has the best set of tools so that he can apply damage to the mental stack, which is actually how he plays the character. Everything about NuckleDo's Cammy is attacking the mental stack and the mental preparation. All he really does with the character is just overwhelm your mental senses and do things that you're not reacting to. Make you look for one set of things and then do something else that you're not looking for. And one of the ways that he does that is flashbangs. Flashbangs is anything that you do that makes the opponent react. Even if them reacting gives them nothing. For example, NuckleDo will very frequently do jump, shallow dive kick, forward jump. Just like that. Jump, dive kick, nowhere near the opponent. Fuck. Forward jump. He will do that a lot because the jump, dive kick, imagine you're playing neutral and you're like really focused because you're playing against NuckleDo who constantly just throws shit at you to see if you can react to it. Okay? You're like stressed, you're trying to focus as much as possible. Suddenly, you see an animation. Forward jump. What? Forward jump. Okay, do I have to anti-air? What's the current distance? Oh, dive kick. Okay, dive kick, what's the current distance? Do I have to deal with this? Okay, it whiffs, actually. In that moment of reaction, you can make the opponents react to what you do, but the risk of them reacting, you're making them react in a scenario where the reaction warrants them nothing, okay? Because they won't be able to punish this. You're too far away for them to anti-air it. Fucking goddamn it, I'm so fucking bad. And then, so, flashbangs are anything that you do that makes the opponent react or anticipate a specific action, and that tiny moment of, like, mental calculation will blind them to being able to react to the next immediate thing that you do. So a lot of the time, Knuckle Do will do jump, shallow dive kick, immediate heavy knuckle, or jump, shallow dive kick, immediate forward jump. Because he does this, and it fucking... The mental processing it takes to react, but then eventually calculate that there's nothing that they can do in that scenario, blinds them temporarily to the next thing for them to react to. And it's not just actions like this. You can flashbang the opponents with forward dash, okay? One of the main things that you're going to be doing is playing around. Crouching medium kick range is broadly where a lot of the characters play footsies, but Cammy especially. So if you dash into about, not exactly, but about crouching medium kick range, you have a lot of options. If you dash closer than that, you have fewer options. If you dash further away than that, it's fine, but the best thing is to, like, suddenly walk or suddenly move into about crouch medium kick range, because that means that you have the freedom to walk backwards, and then the opponent is worried about crouch medium kick. If they press a button, you can walk backwards just a tiny bit and do standing heavy kick, and if they press anything, it'll whiff punish them. You have the ability to do crouch medium kick, and you have the ability to flashbang them in their senses. They may sit there and crouch block, wait for you. They may, in anticipation of the crouching medium kick drive rush, they may start walking backwards to try to get away from you. They may press a button or something, but you can use this to flashbang them. You can do this, and you can either dash and then jump, or dash and then do a slight walk back as if you're going to do the standing heavy kick, and then jump, or drive rush. And this is also a good way to flashbang the opponent into reacting to one thing that you frequently use to engage in a way that they can't actually do anything about because you're actually slightly outside of footsie's range. So, make them react, but they can't do anything with their reaction. They have to calculate whether or not they can do anything based on the circumstances. They either fuck up and whiff a button and then you can whiff punish them, or auto whiff punish them with, like, stand heavy kick like this. Or they whiff a button and you can just jump over it, etc. But yes, this is another great way to flashbang the opponent. You can also more subtly flashbang the opponent with just your basic movement. Like, I will do this constantly with like, players for them to practice their anti-airs. One good way to practice anti-airs is just to have, like, whatever character just go through some rotation of options. I think I still have Luke on all of my... No, I don't. God damn it. Okay, whatever. Okay, so I recorded all those so he'll just randomly move around and incorporate jumps and stuff. So he rotates through his random movement options, and then he'll sometimes jump with 2 different jump ins. And then you can move around and then practice the, you know, the DP anti-airs and stuff, or regular anti-airs, whatever anti-airs you want. And then, so this is a, right, good way to practice anti-airs, but one of the things about this is that if I have people do this, and they do, like, just have the CPU randomly rotate through, like, random movements or stuff, or walking forwards or backwards in neutral, one thing is that if I go in and help them in training mode, and I take the place of the CPU and move and jump, it becomes much, much harder for them to anti-air, because I know how to move and walk in a way that flashbangs the opponent into not being able to react to the jump. So there's lots of little tricks. Like, you can suddenly, like, add multiple animations. You can cut off otherwise smooth animations, so this is a very effective way. You can do, like, you can do like this stutter stepping a lot, and then the opponent will expect to react through the stutter stepping, and then you can suddenly cut off a smooth animation, especially backwards walk into forward jump, and that will make it very difficult for the opponent to react. It's just because they're looking at the constant movements that you're doing, and there's just certain patterns in the movements that people's brains shut down during, and they're not as prepared to react to stuff. And yeah, and obviously the movement also affects how close you are and which anti-airs you can reliably go for. And also, in addition, how you would have to move in footsies. So the jump game is a lot more complicated, and like your jumps will be very weak if all you do is just jump at, like, you move into jumping range and then you jump, right? That's where your jump-ins will be weak. Your jump-ins will be much stronger if you move in a relatively safe way outside of footsies range in a way that will flashbang the opponent. I would say, most broadly, try to do this to like, just one single trick to improve your jump game. Move like this in the neutral, and then suddenly do walk backward, like a smooth walk back for like half a second into forward jump. And that trick by itself should significantly improve your jump game. So do that, and then get close to the opponent, and then do a smooth walk back into forward jump, or forward walk into forward jump like this. And then do one of those two options in addition to sometimes just going from down back to forward jump. Just rotate between those three methods of moving before you jump, and your jumps should be significantly harder for the opponent to deal with. You really want to check yourself when you're jumping in like an obvious and predictable way. You move into the same obvious space in the same obvious way, and then you jump. Those are when your jump-ins get beat a lot, and when they're much easier to clip. You want to move in a confusing way that flashbangs the opponent's mental stack. In vein of that, understand that mental stack is multiplicative, right? Because, like, a human can react to, like, two things pretty well. If you add a third thing, it becomes, like, significantly harder to react to any of those things. If you add a fourth things, it's like 10 times harder, okay? It becomes multiplicatively harder every single option that you add. So in doing that, mainly you're going to be playing the ground game and the jump game. These are your Cammy's primary tools of playing the game. The mental stack of the ground game and the mental stack of the jump game. But make sure that you occasionally add in these options as well. Heavy spin knuckle and raw drive rush into whatever. She doesn't have the best drive rush options, but do raw drive rush standing heavy kick, raw drive rush crouch light kick, raw drive rush stand heavy punch, and sometimes if you're like close, pretty close, like this range to the opponent, raw drive rush stand jab. But so raw drive rush crouch light kick is the best one and the safest one. It's fast and it has a good hurt box, and it will tag the opponent low. So if the opponent is stand block only, if they're not blocking low, you can just sneak in with this and then combo into crouching medium punch. And yeah, so anyways, implement that. Into your game plan as well. Not even just to get anything from it, but you want the opponent's mental stack to be more scrambled. So you want to do them with at least enough frequency that it will fuck with their ability to react to the ground game or the jump game. That's really all we're doing that for the most part. Sometimes we get in with it, but what we're really doing is trying to attack their mental stack. In terms of your drive rush approach, first things first, drive rush crouch light kick, +7 on hit. Go into crouch medium punch automatically and then confirm it on hit. Simple. It may be worth doing another drive rush cancel. In some circumstances, but definitely not all. But I would say, yeah, just go into this regularly, it's fine. Next, drive rush stand heavy punch. If it gets on hit, it's +6. If you're too far away, if you're close like this, you can go into that. If you're further away, you'll have to do something like stand light kick, drill. If it's on counter hit, you can go into another heavy punch into the target combo, just like that. If you do drive rush, stand heavy kick, just pick that up with stand light kick, drill. And then on counter hit, again, stand a heavy punch. Same frame data. On block, if you do drive rush, stand heavy punch, you're +1, so take your turn with stand jab. If you do drive rush, heavy kick, you're also +1 on block, but you'll be closer to the opponent. So you can do it at this range and be in throw range. But if the opponent mashes 4-framers, you won't beat them. So it's a mix-up between whether or not you lock them down with jabs or you go for a throw. Alright, next is, what's next? Basic practice, right? So, talked about practicing anti-airs, so do something like this. Practice your anti-airs, practice a multitude of anti-airs, practice anti-airs that you feel very comfortable with. Practice air-to-airs a lot. Air-to-airs are, if you can land them, they're not that hard to land, and if you can land them, by far and away Cammy's highest value anti-airs. So practice doing this, and then you'll have to delay the dive kick, the EX dive kick, when you do this. So that you can get it like that. But yes, if you can get it, very high value anti-air. So practice all that stuff, practice DPs. You want to practice your DP input every single day, or every single session at least, for like quite a lot of time. Just keep getting it, get calluses on your fingers, get your controller loosened up if it's not. Right, you play on leverless, but... So yeah, just keep practicing that. Practice full crouch DP. Practice walk back DP, etc. Down crouch block DP. Close range DP. Anytime that the opponent jumps, you want to anti-air from right where you are. You don't want to reposition yourself first. Choose your anti-air from where you are. If they're quite close to you, just stay crouching and then do light punch DP. Or light kick DP. Just like that. As late as possible, do the full crouch, whatever. Don't move from where you are. Practice cross-cut DP. If you don't know what the input for that is, you basically do... So if your regular DP is your forward walking, and then you do this, and I know you're on leverless, so I'll explain the leverless one. You do this, or this for your DP input, and then crouch blocking you would do this for your DP input. And on leverless, right, I think, what is it? This is crouch, this is jump, this is left, this is right, if I'm not mistaken, on default leverless. So anyways, so for DP inputs, right, so for full crouch, which is what you're basically doing here, you're basically holding crouch, and then you just tap, right, let go, and then tap it again, so ×2 on that, while holding crouch, and that will give you this input. Whereas if you're already forward walking with right, you would just go to crouch, let go, and then hit right again, tap it, and then that will give you this input. And then in terms of cross-cutting on a normal controller, on a normal D-pad, you would start it forwards, rotate to down back, not down, not back, down back. Specifically, you rotate and then you hold it there, and then you hit the kick button, okay? on leverless, that would look like forward, then crouch, let go forward. I have heard from people, I have played leverless, but not a lot. I have heard from people that cross-cutting is a little bit awkward on leverless. I don't know, maybe I'm misremembering, or maybe that's not true, but I've heard that cross-cutting is a little awkward on leverless. So anyways, you'll go from forward to down plus forward to let go forward. So forward, then down, and then you would hold it down and press down and back, and then you would hold that and then press the kick button. Alright, whatever. I'll just delete this. Okay, so practice this. Doesn't matter how consistent you are. Keep practicing it. Speed up your DP inputs. Practice. Make sure you can anti-air after you make a mistake. So as soon as you make a mistake, if they jump again, immediately be ready for it. And also, while you're at it, every single session, so do this on both sides. Start off on the right. Etc. So practice this on the right for like extended periods at a time, 15-30 minutes. And then do the same thing with dive kicks. I don't play Cammy, so don't blame me for being terrible. Practice dive kicks, whatever, both sides. Consistently practice your range, your spacing, and your instant air execution from different inputs. Practice it from down back, etc. Get used to the ranges, get used to the timings, etc. And then do that on both sides. And so do those, practice those things every single session, and just keep sinking in the execution. If you do long sessions of practicing execution and like push yourself to speed up your execution as fast as possible. Every single session, push yourself and really like exhaust your thumb in the process, or exhaust your fingers. You're playing on leverless, whatever. Really try to force your speed to get even faster with the execution. And then as you exhaust yourself by practicing the same execution faster and faster, or finding ways where you can execute it faster and faster, finding different ways that you can do the input to execute it even better or faster in different situations, then what will happen is that night when you go to sleep, well, while you're asleep, your brain will, that's when your brain interprets all of the things that you did that day and transforms them into muscle memory. So, while you're asleep, your all that exhaustion and like extra effort put into your hands to like do something that you're currently not comfortable with will like adjust and sort of take shape, and then the next day you will it will have sunk into your actual hands and you'll be slightly better, etc. Alright, next is going to be a very fundamental part of the game. This is very, very common in Street Fighter 6, specifically Street Fighter 6. Any time that you're in like kind of the close range, or either in footsies or more commonly when you're in close range, either on your offense or the opponent's offense, you will do something that ends your turn. So like you do stand heavy punch knuckle, you're -3, then the opponent will do something, and at some point there will be a gap, at which point you can either do crouching medium kick or crouching medium punch drive rush or light spin knuckle, or you do walk back crouching medium kick or walk back stand heavy kick. And just do those basic things, implement them in your footsies, like generate some action, generate some poke, then do walk back crouching medium punch, walk back crouching medium kick, walk back stand heavy kick. And buffer them, if you're in range, buffer them into drive rush. If you're outside of range, buffer them into heavy spiral arrow. But this is going to be like your most common fucking thing. This is going to happen all the time. God damn it. And do them quite late. Like, do a little walk back, then hit the button quite late. Okay, you don't have to do it like super fast or snappy like this. You don't want to make mistakes. And it's better in this game. The way the hurt boxes work is that almost every button in the game has a terrible hurt box on startup, and like usually a kind of decent hurt box on recovery. Some of them are more whiff punishable than others, but in this game, because the way hurt boxes work for almost all buttons, it is better if you do like a delay button or a walk back button. It is much better and much safer to hit your button too late instead of hitting it too early. If you hit it too early, you're fucking dead. If you hit it too late, it just means that you missed your whiff punish, whatever. So, it's much better to do things too late, put too much of a delay in, so really put like a big delay when you do like these like walk back mediums into crouching medium kick or crouching medium punch into buffer or stand heavy kick. Really put like a significant delay in. And then, yeah, just implement that, and that will just kind of broadly autopilot you to a lot of victories. My last point for your neutral is just when you have level 3, just pump the shit out of level 3, alright? You use it to react to anything, right? The opponent fucking, whatever. The opponent does, like, a fireball. Just level 3. Right, just react to anything. Just, like, pump level 3 and then react to whatever. Alright, so that's, like, you know, make sure you're using your supers. Some matchups that'll be more relevant than others. My next note, these are your defensive things. First point, play, then learn, experiment, and then take it to the lab, okay? Alright, on your defense, if you're losing to something, or if whatever, play passively. If something's blowing you up, let it kill you. Observe first, so sit back, take the least risky option, and observe what's happening. Rationalize what's happening, try to think about what's going on, and then experiment using like basic logic what you can do, and then after the match is over, immediately take it to the lab to see what's going on, see what your options are. Alright, second point of defense, relax, don't act out of anxiety, desperation, anything, slow down, die slowly. You can accept that large portions of your HP every single round, or even entire rounds, or even entire games may be lost just simply due to the cost of doing business, right? You can lose like half your health in this game of just like whatever, okay? Consistent offense in the corner. This is broadly up here. Like, let's say you get hit, you're like in neutral, you fail to anti-air like 5 jumps in a row, or you're in the corner and you fail to react to 4 DIs that wall splat you in a row, or not in a row, but like in total in a match. You're playing a Kimberly and she does YOLO, run slide from full screen and knocks you down. That happens like 3 times in a match. All of that shit is small potatoes. You will not lose the game off of that. Literally ignore it. Just relax. Okay? That is just the life you lose from mistakes or from random gimmicky shit that hits you or whatever is just the cost of doing business. It does not affect the overall outcome of the match. Just keep playing your normal game. Don't let it affect your play. Same thing, I put this on offense. It could go in neutral or it could go in whatever, but it's the same basic ideology. A lot of your offense will be punishing stuff with as much damage as possible, anything that is punishable, and that just also requires a lot of experience, just like defensive scenarios. There's always going to be new scenarios as new characters get added and as you learn more about the characters that already exist. So, same thing with punishing stuff. Play the game, figure it out, and then take it to the lab to see what your punishes are. Practice your punishes in the lab, and then take it to a match. In terms of punishing stuff or looking at specific scenarios for defensive situations, it can be tricky because in order to fully digest it into your game plan, you have to play matches. You have to play real matches against people where it happens, right? it's one thing to like learn how to punish something in the training mode and practice it a bunch, but in order to make sure that you're consistently doing it in matches, you have to like go into a match against that character where that character does that punishable move, and then practice like putting yourself in the mental state where you're punishing it correctly every single time it happens. And for that to happen, you need to either get lucky while playing ranked and run into a player that plays that character that will do that scenario or that punishable move, or, and this is where having a training partner is very useful, get your training partner to play that character and play matches with you and create that scenario so that you can practice punishing it in a real match, and thus fully incorporate it into your peripheral vision, into your background, so you don't have to think about it again, into your muscle memory. For your offense, I have 3 observations about what your offense is currently doing. So your main offensive tools that you were doing is sometimes you would walk in from neutral and get a forward throw. That's good. That's all good. From there, your next thing was drive rush off of crouch medium kick into forward throw. Now the problem with this is that if you're too far away, if you're like here, you can just input it automatically and it's fine. But if you're further away, then if you press throw too early, you would have to manually time it to get the throw to connect. And that can leave you open to getting hit out of this. But if you do it properly, it's fine. That being said, there's no practical way, there's no like realistic good way for you to stop the opponent from throw teching here. So, well, that's not true, but the way you were doing it, there was nothing that you were doing that could stop the throw tech. And obviously you can't like shimmy off of this in this situation because you're stuck drive rushing forward, so you can't jump and you can't shimmy. And anything else you could do to like stop the throw would be like raw hooligan. But I don't recommend that, by the way. I was just doing that as a demonstration. But anyway, so practice this first. So one, come in here, empty all these out, reset them, whatever. Okay, for block reversal, we're going to do normal throw, normal throw, normal throw, normal throw, and do nothing. We're going to turn all these on. All of them put count 2. Actually, it literally doesn't matter. Just leave them at count 1. It's fine. For normal throw, we're going to do delay 5, delay 6, delay 7, delay 8 frames. Just like that. And have all of them on. And then what you're going to do is, off of this scenario, so practice this. Crouching medium kick, drive rush, jab. And then off of this scenario, you can throw, or you can shimmy the opponent, or you can strike the opponent. So the rotation of options will be the opponent can either do EXDP, or delay drive reversal, which is not an option that we can add here. Delay throw tech, so delay of like 7 frames, or backdash, or backwards jump, okay? Or mash buttons, but most everything that you do will beat mash buttons. So if you do crouching medium kick, drive rush, stand jab, just like that, and then if you do normal throw right afterwards, it'll throw them if they don't do anything, but it will lose to delay tech, back jump, and backdash, and EXDP, like this. So they're teching the throw, DPing the mix-up scenario. The one thing that Cammy specifically can do is against back jump, because she can standing heavy kick after they jump backwards, so long as she's close enough, which she usually is. So if you're like here, or if you do it off of that, crouching medium punch, which will leave you a bit closer, you can always stand heavy kick their back jump. You could also level 1 their back jump. But anyways, yeah, standing heavy kick is easier and safer. Anyway, so, but that's kind of beside the point. That's kind of like a high-level tactic. But the point is that they have these 4 options to deal with the throw in this scenario. Now, your way of beating these 2 options is the same. You walk backwards. And then if they DP, you'll block it. And if they whiff throw, you can whiff punish it. Just like that. So practice that scenario. There's also do nothing. So put do nothing on the last action. So turn on all 3 of those things. Walk backwards. You want to punish the DP. Walk backwards to exactly this space, and then Jamie's like normal standing animation is weird, but anyways. React to the throw whiff, and then punish it. So just sit here. If he does nothing, you can press a button or do nothing. It's your choice. If he whiffs throw, whiff punish it. And if he does nothing, you can either just continue to do nothing or you can press a button. It's fine. So practice doing that. And then as for the other option, if he does back jump or back dash, if we move backwards, we won't be able to stop it. Yeah. Not realistic. So anyways, if you go for a shimmy, generally speaking, if they backdash or back jump, they're broadly speaking going to get out of it. You can, once again, you do have some options to beat the back jump here, but the backdash is relatively, you just have to let that go. So if you shimmy, you can beat the back jump. With EX drill. But again, that's also another high-level strat. Don't even worry about that. But that is an option if you felt like you could do that. Now, next is the strike options. So your strike options, by default, to beat back jump, back dash, whatever, is you have this standing light punch. One, you can do back medium punch, and then you can confirm off of it with a 4-framer. Like that. Which is fine. You can do stand medium punch, which is +6, which means you can get stand light kick into that, which is fine. Not very strong, but it's fine. And those are pretty much your main options. Your next option is just slight delay into 2 lights. Just like that. Now, depending on how close you are, you could get something slightly better. So if you're max range crouch medium kick into drive rush, you can't do this. But if you get crouch medium punch, which allows you to get closer to the opponent, then you can do drive rush jab, slight delay, walk forwards jab, very, very minor delay. You can get jab, back medium punch, and then you can do that. So the damage differential we're talking about is 1770 damage versus 1780 damage, but more super gain and more drive gauge gain. And more combo flexibility, because if you go into that, you have other routes that are also very good, like level 2 and stuff. And then, also, so this is something you definitely have to practice, because if you do it too quickly, there's nothing that will catch the opponent. because you're not creating a frame trap. So you have to do a slight delay, very slight delay, into, like, crouch light kick. Just like that, so that there is a gap. Off of this, you can also check the opponent with crouch light kick once and then try to walk up and throw them. Crouch light kick, I would say, I won't entirely explain like the psychology of why this works. Basically, just look at it like this. If you do crouch light punch, Cammy looks like she's very close to the opponent because her body stays in the same place, but her like shoulders move forward. Stand jab, she actually leans slightly forward, so her body actually does move forwards from where she is. Her normal animation, she's leaning backwards, but when she stand jab, she leans slightly forwards. However, when she does crouch light kick, her crouch animation is like this. When she does crouch light kick, her body leans backwards. So visually, it actually looks to the opponent like you're further away than you are. And you can trick the opponent because here, when you do crouch light kick here, you look like you're further away than you actually are, and then you can throw the opponent. So you can be in situations where you can do this and then have it be visually confusing. This is the best thing. This is the best light to leave off on when you want to walk up and throw the opponent, because it visually tricks them. Even if they know about this, it just psychologically makes them think that you're further away than you are. So if you want to throw the opponent, either do an immediate throw after this, or do crouch light kick, walk up, throw. Okay, next. The next thing, the strike options immediately after this, and this is a very strong option that a lot of Cammy players do not do very much. I would say it's best relegated for when you're cornered, but this technically can work anywhere. This is an option that will beat back jump, back dash, and normal throw. But it will lose to do nothing. So, if you want to beat their throw tech and all of their escapist movements, there's two things that you can do. The first one, which is the most common one that you should do, crouching heavy punch. Crouching heavy punch will lose if they do... Well, okay, this will be plus if they do nothing, so you actually win if they do nothing. It'll lose if they mash a jab, okay? So, crouching heavy punch here, very, very powerful tool. Do this into crouching heavy punch. It'll hit the backdash, but it'll lose to crouch jab. But if you rotate in all the other options, especially throw... yeah, just mainly throw, shimmy, and crouch heavy punch are what you broadly need. And then sometimes you can do strikes like that. But I would say most frequently, go for throw, shimmy, or crouch heavy punch. And that'll be most of what you need. Anyway, so crouch heavy punch interacts with each one differently. If they back jump, it'll hit them out of the air like that. And then... you don't really get offense off of that. If they throw, it'll most likely counter hit them like this. If they do a delay tech. Now, if they backdash, it depends on the character's backdash and how close you were when you did it. But sometimes you'll be able to convert it into something. But against some characters' backdashes, you won't be able to convert this. This is mainly to beat delay throw tech and do nothing because it's plus on block if they do nothing, while still hitting them if they back dash or back jump. Like so. So this is why it's very, very good. But the next option is much more powerful against back jump and back dash. Slightly less powerful against normal throw, but it still beats delay tech normal throw. And this also loses to wake up mashing jab, and it will lose to do nothing. And this is drive rush jab, back heavy kick. If you do this, now this is not as relevant there's not as many of these types of tools in this game as there was in the last game, Street Fighter V, but this was a thing that Cammy could also do in Street Fighter V that was also very good. Because her standing heavy kick in Street Fighter V was this back heavy kick. And so in that game, as you probably know, her back heavy kick only hits crouching opponent, or only hits standing opponents. So if they're crouching, it completely whiffs, which means that if they are crouch blocking and then they hit a throw tech to try to throw, if they hit throw to try to tech a throw, their character, if they're already crouch blocking, will stand up, which means that this move, which has 3 active frames, as you can see here, 3 active frames, if it's above their body at any point, if they hit throw tech at any point in the animation, they will stand up into the attack and get hit by it. So this will tag back jumps, backdash, and throw tech. And then your options to convert them, if you don't want to spend any bar on it, just convert it into like a spiral arrow. See, that's what happens if he tries to throw tech. If he's crouch blocking, as you can see, he literally stands up into the attack. As for converting this into damage, one good thing is just raw level 1 is convenient here. It gives you a lot of damage in corner carry. But like I said, this scenario, because it's risky, because if you whiff and they hit a crouching button, they can punish you, but it's very powerful against throw tech, back jump, and backdash, which are the options that they're most likely to use. But if the opponent knows that you're liable to go for this sometimes, they may wait for it to punish you heavily for it. I would save this mostly for when you're cornered, because this is very, very powerful in the corner, because this launcher off a back heavy kick will give you your best side switch options. Because you can do this. So that was off of punishing a back jump. So you do that into level 1, side switch, they're in the corner. Same scenario, if they backdash, or it hits them for throw teching, you do that route with like this, the driver standing heavy punch. But if you see that they jump backwards, so that's backdash, that's backdash, that's jump. If they jump, you have to do drive rush back medium punch instead, because they'll fall faster than if you hit them on the ground. But anyway, so that is another part of the rotation of options. And it is very strong. Not enough Cammy players do this, frankly. Right, next is an extension of what you were doing. So first, I have to explain something here. I'm not sure if you already know this or not, but I'm going to explain it anyways. I could, if you picked up the game during Christmas, I could see you not knowing this yet. But if Cammy does drive rush, stand jab, and then shimmies, versus if Cammy does drive rush, throw, like you've been doing, I'm going to demonstrate 2 things. As you can see, both times, I inputted the same thing. EXDP. If Cammy does a stand jab, the EXDP doesn't come out. If you go for a throw, it does. So this is an option select that will automatically beat you if you do the thing that you've been doing, where you go for throw. This will beat you 100% of the time. The reason is because if you do a drive rush, there's a period of time that you can't block for. So there's 23 frames before you can block, which means that if you do crouching medium kick drive rush, the fastest you can block, as you can see, -11 for Ken. Crouching medium kick block, -11, which means that if the opponent does anything that's invincible to the strikes that you may do, it's a guaranteed, almost guaranteed punish. So I am now going to demonstrate things that you could theoretically do. So let's pick like Cammy versus Ryu, right? So just so that you understand this scenario, if you do crouching medium kick drive rush, there is almost no way for you to beat this EXDP. Now, the ways that you can beat the EXDP, there are two ways that you can beat it, and both of them are very niche and, frankly, not worth going for most of the time. The first one is drive rush DI. Crouching medium kick drive rush DI. And this will allow you to armor through it, at which point you get a punish. This is not worth doing because you spend 4 bars, plus you put yourself into a heavy drive gauge penalty to do something that will only beat one action. And this doesn't even work against some characters. For example, Cammy and Guile and some other characters, I think Chun-Li as well, this doesn't even work against them. So, because you cannot guarantee that your opponent will be inputting this EXDP every single time, and because it costs so much drive gauge and you give up your offense to just do a random DI, and if they do anything else, it'll blow up the DI, and you risk, like, if the opponent waits and counter DIs you, you'll go from full drive gauge to no drive gauge and be in burnout. So this, you risk a lot by going for this, but it is an option, and against some characters it may be useful sometimes if they are very consistent at doing EXDP here. The second option, which is unique to Cammy, is crouching medium kick. You have to be close enough to do this. You have to be a bit closer to the opponent to do this. Is drive rush EX spin knuckle, which will spend even more drive gauge than the DI would, and is also liable to get you killed because the opponent has other ways of dealing with this. But this is one that is like, so you spend 5 drive gauge bars on just like trying to bait out one single DP that might not come at all. So this, but if it does work out, it can be a very clutch thing because you would get a very heavy punish on it. Just keep that in mind. But broadly speaking, try to think of this as there's absolutely nothing you can do to stop EXDPs here. But the saving grace of this is that you won't meet players who are EXDPing you every single time you do this until you're much higher. Like, quite high into master rank before players are reliably DPing your fake drive rushes. So yes, any drive rush that you do that has a gap at all, the reason why stand jab, crouching medium kick drive rush stand jab doesn't work is because it's a true block string. There's no gap for them to even do an EXDP. So that's why this is safe to this. But yes, anything else that you do, anything slower than jab, there's a gap, and that will get you DP'd. However, like I said, some characters do not have the EXDPs. Some characters you don't have to worry about this at all for, or hardly for. Some characters could only beat you with an invincible level 1 super, at which point you have other options to deal with those. But anyways, for now I would say don't even worry about this, because players would have to be at a certain high enough level to even, 1, know about that, and 2, do it consistently against you. So instead, I would say continue doing crouching medium kick drive rush throw, but add in some other options that you do more frequently. One is back medium punch. This should be your default. Crouching medium kick drive rush back medium punch, and that will be +3. And then off of this, you get a very reliable situation where you can throw, strike, or shimmy, or crouching heavy punch, or back heavy kick. So this is a very consistent, strong, like, mixed scenario. Now, once the opponent is respecting your back medium punch, you can go for drive rush throw, but again, like I said, the problem is there's very little way to stop the opponent from teching this scenario. One way that you can stop the opponent, and this is where we come into the throw thing that I was doing, that I lined up for Luke, to practice reacting to throw whiffs. Is put it like this so that block reversal, normal throw, a bunch of normal throws at different timings, 5 frames, 6 frames, 7 frames, 8 frames, and then do drive rush into a slightly delayed crouch heavy punch, just like this. Do a slight delay. If you delay it too long, you'll get thrown. But yes, do a slightly delayed crouch heavy punch. While all of those throw things are active. And try to find a timing that consistently nets you a counter hit like that. But be very, very certain to not do it so late that you get thrown yourself. So do a slight delay, but not too long. And then practice that. So that, combined with this scenario, or this scenario, which is very similar. Very, very strong. Practice those. That will, like drastically improve your offense. In terms of the frequency that you should do these things, when you have this strike throw shimmy scenario, which you get off of this, or which you get off of this, or this, etc. When you have a strike throw shimmy scenario like this, you should do throw like 40% of the time. Now, obviously, the rates, you have to be variable and you have to mix them up so that they're not predictable, but I would broadly say do throw most frequently, and then almost as frequently do strike. Almost as frequently do crouching heavy punch. For other characters, it would be different, but Cammy's strike game is kind of weird, because her regular strikes are not very good, but her delay strike is incredibly good. But it is a delay, so it might make the opponent mash more. But anyways, I would say do throw very, very frequently, do crouch heavy punch quite frequently, do shimmy pretty frequently, do strike about as frequently as shimmy, or maybe slightly less frequently. And then do back heavy kick the least frequently, because it's the riskiest. And that should be your frequency. When you do drive rush, sometimes do the mix-up with, like, back medium punch most frequently. Do delay crouch heavy, do drive rush throw sort of frequently, and then do delay crouch heavy punch also sort of frequently. Alright, your next point. Your offense, crouching heavy punch is only +1. It's not very plus. And after you do it, even if you do it from point blank, you're not close enough to throw. And you're not plus enough to throw either. Which is why when we played, I kept hitting you after you did crouch heavy punch. I always kept doing, like, Blanca stand light kick into electricity, and it hit you every single time. Because this is not very plus. It's plus, but it's not very plus. So you have to first establish respect. And by that, you need to first do basic frame traps, right? So when you're point blank, like when you're in the corner, just do this into 2 jabs. And that way you can confirm on hit into a knockdown or whatever. If you're further away, do, like, jab, stand, light kick. Or jab, crouch, medium punch. Or just jab, and then try to play reactively with it. But the point is that completing a frame trap like this and then pushing the opponent away is not the end of your offense, because this game has a very scrappy close range to it. Broadly speaking, some characters are less scrappy in the close range and like can consistently push the opponents out more, but this game has a very scrappy close range. So if you do this, your turn hasn't necessarily ended yet. You can still, like, if the opponent tries to take their turn, you can do a walk back, heavy kick, you can get a whiff punish and then get back in. If they do nothing, you can still walk up after this. You can go back to neutral about heavy kick range and then drive rush jab and get in. Or drive rush throw. You can do a light like this and then steal a turn with like stand heavy punch and a light knuckle. And the value of doing stand heavy punch and a light knuckle, which I would recommend you do a lot, at least to start out with, is that you put yourself in -3, but you're not in throw range. And in fact, you're very far from throw range. But you're not at a great place for the opponent to do crouching medium kick, because a lot of their crouching medium kicks are 8-framers, which means that if you're -3 at this range, you can just mash jab and you'll beat them if they crouching medium kick you a lot. So just do stand heavy punch into this and then walk backwards. Or crouch block. And then see what the opponent does. And this is a great way to, one, this will like eat a bunch of inputs. So if they press any input, even slightly after the standing heavy punch, this will counter hit them. And then you get a nice easy conversion off of that. And so, this broadly pacifies the opponent, but more specifically, again, any pressure that you can do is not just about opening up the opponent, it's about stealing drive gauge advantage. And standing heavy punch, light knuckle, great way to steal drive gauge advantage. He loses like 0.8 bars, and we gain like 0.6 bars just by doing this at any time. So any time that you can do this, you can do just like a jab, and then you can either walk back and look for a whiff punish, and if they press a button, you can like try to whiff punish it or whatever. You can do this and then go over their attacks with a shallow dive kick, if I was not ass at this input. So you can do something like that. You can backdash, which is very safe, and then you can observe and see what the opponent does, and then if you're at this range, you can still stab back in with light spiral arrow. You can do a shallow dive kick into a jump to shock the senses. You can jump dive kick, you can drive rush crouch light kick. Like, you don't lose offense by just like backing off in this range or completing a block string. So condition the opponent very well, and then you'll have lots of opportunities. If they try to take their turn, you can forward heavy kick, and that will beat any button that they press. Go back for a whiff punish, or set up standing heavy punch or heavy kick. Heavy punch, light knuckle, and then if they don't press a button immediately, you can steal a lot of their drive gauge and build back some of your own. Anytime that you have like a huge drive gauge advantage, you basically get free ways in with drive rush cancel. And so your offense is not just about getting a way in, it's about building enough drive gauge so that you get the easiest ways in fucking on the planet. And so yes, I would say your offense is not just about moving forwards, it's about completing and creating these close range scenarios where it's very obnoxious for the opponent. Alright, next is a couple stronger Oki scenarios. So first things first, put the opponent to block after first hit. Anytime you land this in mid-screen and you're not going to get the corner, a good basic thing, let's say you spend your drive gauge when you had like 5 drive gauge. A good basic thing, you end it with medium drill like that. Dash, drive rush, stand heavy punch. It will hit meaty and you will be in throw range at +3. Off of this scenario, you can also drive rush into just a meaty throw. I would practice this. Just like that. You drive rush, crouch jab, and then walk backwards, and that should help you effectively shimmy the opponent on their wake up. You have to do specifically crouch jab, not stand jab. Just like that. I actually think I'm not doing this correctly. No, that's correct. But yes, crouch jab will keep you slightly further away from the opponent. So you will be able to shimmy them. If I demonstrate it, wake up normal throw with a delay of 6 frames. If I stand jab and walk backwards, I get thrown. If I crouch jab and walk backwards, I shimmy. So anyways, practice that as well. That will allow you to block EXDPs and shimmy the opponent off of this scenario. And if this hits the opponent, so if they don't block it, it hits meaty enough that you can go for another standing heavy punch. And even from full screen away after this knockdown, when you do this, you will literally always be in range, even from corner to corner, where you can do the corner variation of that target combo. You do light spiral arrow into medium uppercut. And as you can see, in just those 2 combos that I did, built a full bar of super. So anyways, I'm not going to get too bogged down with combos in this video, and I've talked about like Cammy's combo routings and stuff in another video, but I would say strengthening your Oki in mid-screen with certain actions like that would be broadly powerful to your game plan. And then off of forward throw in mid-screen, I would do a couple things. So one is driver standing heavy punch is the default. That will meaty them and you'll be plus, but you won't be able to throw the opponent off of this. The next default, drive rush crouching light kick. Now you have to do it slightly delayed if they're not crouch blocking. But you can hit them low, you can tag them low, sneak in with that, and then convert it into a crouching medium punch. Like so. You can do standing heavy kick. This will not be a meaty, okay? If they wake up 4-framer, they will beat this. But standing heavy kick, but most of the time they won't do that because they'll be respecting this, which will absolutely clobber them. If they get this on counter hit, they will be fucking destroyed. So if this hits, so if they wake up into this, you can convert it on like that into the back medium punch target combo. Jump like that. If it's on counter hit, if they wake up pressing buttons, you can get another standing heavy punch target combo into etc. And on block, you get, you can just check them with a light. But anyway, so once you've conditioned them with that, you can go for stand heavy kick. Now this is also only +1, but the difference is, 1, it regens you way more drive gauge and steals more drive gauge from the opponent on block, and 2, it leaves you in throw range. So if the opponent does not press their 4-framer or try to escape, you can, you know, strike, throw, shimmy in this situation. Right, next, and somewhat relating to this point, I would advise you to abuse standing heavy punch into light knuckle a lot, especially in your current rank or whatever, because it has a high likelihood of getting a counter hit on the spin knuckle, because people are fucking mashing like shit, and there's an auto-timed frame trap that is a clean, easy to confirm off of, and 2, this bullies a lot of drive gauge damage on block and regens you a lot. So anytime that you get to do this and harass with this action is very good, and it makes the opponent not want to sit there and block, which will allow your offense to be deadlier and make the opponent make more mistakes. But the other thing is that when you do this a lot, it conditions the opponent to sit there, and you have a very high frequency of ability to steal heavy punch knuckles. To have the opponent be respecting and sort of lulled to sleep by this over and over, that you can steal heavy punch knuckles and be +3 on block instead, and then just go for more offense. After heavy punch knuckle, the best frame trap option is just like standing medium punch. So if they press a button or something, you can convert into standing heavy punch off the counter hit. And then, yeah, as I'm demonstrating in the corner, I would abuse the shit out of this. Forward throw, and then your choice of drive rush would be drive rush back medium punch, which hits very meaty and is very plus, or drive rush crouch heavy punch, which will trade with 4-framers, which will give you a good combo on trades, but you have to be prepared for that and practice that scenario in training mode. So if I were to go in here, wake up, crouch light punch, etc., drive rush crouch fierce, it'll trade like that. You have to be prepared for that trade scenario. And then convert it, but it gives you a lot of damage. And then you would practice off of the drive rush crouch heavy punch. If it's blocked, it's +5. So you have to do a little walk forwards into a forward throw so that you don't do it too early. So practice that. And then, yeah, this is also a very deadly situation. You can also drive rush straight into throw, or drive rush into a delayed crouch heavy punch, which will beat a lot of throw teching. So those are like the main go-to options that are very, very strong. My final point is a simple one. Just anytime that you have, like, use your supers. If you're not sure about where to use your supers yet, at a very basic sense, whenever you have level 3, look to use it, or anytime you get a hit, just go into level 3, unless you, like, you can kill without it, and it's like the second round or something. But anyways, anytime you do it, just like convert into like a basic combo that will go into level 3, and then just use it. Just use it. Just use it. You're much more likely to end up like failing to use it at all and not getting anything out of your supers by not using it when you can versus like just using it. So just use it, and then the more you use it, the more you'll get used to having it in your brain, and then you can start to use it better. But to start with, you really just have to use it whenever you can. Otherwise, you're just gonna consistently win or lose games with full super, never spent anything, which sucks. You might as well get that huge value out of it, even in like a very low damage scenario or a very heavily scaled scenario, whatever. Just fucking use it, okay? And my actual last point, because this video has like a lot of stuff to go through, obviously I kind of overpacked it. I had like other things that I cut out of it, as you can see. But anyways, so yes, So, first points, only try to implement one thing at a time to your game plan. Don't try to do everything at once and then try... So, like, put something into training mode until you have it a rough approximation, and then take it to matches. It doesn't matter if you lose those matches, focus on implementing that one thing. Now, you will usually play worse when you're focusing on learning as opposed to, like, playing. That's fine, okay? You have to play real matches in order to adopt things from theory into reality, okay? So, practice things in theory, get the execution and stuff down for certain ideas. In training mode, take them to real matches, focus on doing that one thing. Doesn't matter if, like, you're fucking everything else up in the match and that you're too distracted by doing the one thing. Just focus on doing that one thing in real matches at a rough approximation of playing the game until you're comfortable with doing that in real matches, and then as you keep doing it, you'll get more and more comfortable with naturally doing it, and then your brain will relax and then let you do the rest of your kit that you've been doing. So always do that. If you have a bad habit or something, go into matches and focus entirely on not doing that bad habit, and then even if it's to the detriment of the rest of your play, just focus on it until your muscle memory and your your subconscious adopts the thing you're trying to implement or change about your play, and keep doing it until you relax, and then keep adding tools like that. And then another good practice, every single match that you do, every single game that you play on like ranked or whatever, take at least one scenario to the lab after every single match that you play. You want to inspire your own curiosity, right? Think about the match and think, I wonder how that exactly works, or what are my options against that, or is that thing punishable in some way? Let me check. Always take at least one scenario to the lab after every single match that you play. Anyways, that's about it.